Let me ask you a question. What do you think people skills are? I know what I used to think people skills are. Well, you have a pleasant personality. People like you. People want to be around you. People used to tell me all the time that I had people skills, and those were hard to teach. And they would say, he's just such a nice guy, and everybody likes Mark and all that kind of stuff. In fact, my ex-wife Robin used to say that most people, 50% of the people are going to like you, 50% of the people aren't going to like you, except Mark, because 100% of the people like Mark. And that was because I twisted myself into a pretzel to make sure that I was liked. So I thought people skills were basically being a golden retriever, right? Be friendly, be loving, be tolerant, let people do things to you. And if someone throws a ball, go get it. And I thought those were people skills. Then I wrote a book called Only Tens, and I got myself a PhD in how to get myself out of overwhelm, how to actually focus on things that are important to me. And what I really learned is how not to be codependent, how to stop being a people pleaser, and how to really be a leader for myself and my own life, and to pay attention to the things that I wanted to create in the world. Now, what I understand people skills to be is something completely different. Yes, people skills are relationship skills and being kind to someone and being open and being vulnerable. But if you want to be a leader of an organization, if you want to be out of overwhelm and you want to pay attention to the things that are important to you, if you don't want to be buffeted around by everybody else, there's a new set of people skills I want you to learn. And we talk about it all the time, but just think about it this way. These are relationship skills. The first one is setting boundaries, right? If you're going to be honest with people, you have to know what you want, what you don't want, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, and setting boundaries, learning how to set boundaries lovingly. At first for me, what it was, out of exasperation when I just had too much. But I learned how to set boundaries lovingly. The other is to say no, right? So that's a really tough one, saying no, because we all want to be liked. We all want to see ourselves as competent and capable of doing all these things. But saying no is another one. Here's one that's really hard for leaders of organizations: accountability, creating strong agreements with people of what the expectation is out of the conversation that you had. Are you going to get this done in this way by this date? Yes. What resources do you need? And you can come back and you can say, the other person can come back and say, no, I can't get it done by Wednesday. I can get it done by Friday unless you want me to shift priorities. Now you're in a relationship and you're talking about how something's going to get done. You both have ownership. So creating these agreements and accountability. Now, what if someone brings you work that is subpar? A lot of the people that I work with will allow that, and then they'll stay up until 2:00 in the morning fixing whatever work that they got because it's just easier to do it myself. Instead of taking the time to coach, to give strong feedback, to help people iterate and become better at what they do so that the work you get in the future needs less handholding, and then you're freed up to do your job instead of doing somebody else's job. You're creating other leaders in your organization. Does that make sense? So here's another piece to the puzzle that we don't talk about. Yeah, it's nice to talk about boundaries. It's nice to talk about having these difficult conversations in your life. It's nice to talk about being honest with people. But in order to be honest with people about what you want, what you don't want, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, how you feel about things, all that stuff, you have to have a secret ingredient. And that secret ingredient is worth. You have to be on the list. You have to be worthwhile. You have to see yourself as worthwhile of taking up space. You have to see yourself as worthwhile of disappointing someone who asks you to do something and you're not going to do it for them. If you're a people pleaser, that's really tough. There's certain personality types that's really easy to forget about other people, and that's a whole other conversation. So that your awareness goes to what other people need, and you're probably the driver who gets things done. But if you're like most people, we're a mixture of all of that. So being honest and telling people, what you want, what you don't want, saying no, all that takes some semblance of self-worth. And it feels like death sometimes. To say no to someone is a direct hit to my self-esteem because I've always gotten my worth from being all things to all people all the time. I'm competent, I'm smart, right? I'm energetic, I can do these things, and I can buy people's love with all of that. And the first couple times I set a boundary and said no and disappointed people, I saw the shift in the world. There were some people who went away. There were some people who were really grumbly and eventually came along. And then there were some people who were saying, man, I've been waiting for you to set a boundary, right? So the people skills that I'm talking about are the ones that you need in order to pay attention to your own life. I'm going to say that again. The people skills that you need, these conversations, these difficult conversations, are the ones you need to have in order to pay attention to your own life. In other words, when you look at your to-do list, are they things that you want to spend your precious life, energy, and attention on? When you're leading an organization, are you working on your work and making sure the right work gets done in the organization? So these conversations are the crux of Only Tens. They're the crux of mastering overwhelm. They're the crux of actually having real and honest conversations. Hope this is interesting and helpful to you. I love you. Have a great rest of the day.